RAZA for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. With me all the way from Mexico, the president of the WBC, Mauricio Sulaiman. Mauricio, how are you?
Fine, fine. Happy to see you, to see a familiar face, to hear your voice, and looking forward to meeting you in person very soon.
Mauricio, before we talk about boxing, obviously the world we're living in right now with this virus, it's quite crazy out there at the moment. But from Mexico's perspective, how are things in your country?
You know, every country is the same and different at the same time. It depends on the authorities and the measurements that they take and when they take them. We are praying that our approach has been positive, hopefully, and we're praying for the world. This is not any difference on race, on religion, on age. It's just a matter of us keeping doing the right things at the right time and save and participate to save others. So it's a difficult time in humanity that will always be remembered by those who are living it.
Mauricio, here in the UK, we're on lockdown, so we can't really go out unless it's for grocery shopping or one exercise per day. What's the situation like in Mexico? Are you allowed out? Are you allowed to do things?
All the factories that are not essential are closed. Restaurants, shopping malls, cinemas, everything is basically closed. We are trying to stay home. We have been almost 3 weeks, the WBC office and our company, our manufacturing company, but it is not as strict as in other places. That's why our concern that if the measurements are not followed strictly, this could drag on for a longer time.
Mauricio, here in the UK, there was a state of panic where a lot of the people were running to the supermarkets and emptying the shelves and panic buying almost. Was it something similar in Mexico, or was it more calm?
I think everywhere it happened, but then it came back to normal. I don't know why toilet paper was completely sold, but we are just trying to move along. And there's so many things that you cannot control. There's only what you control is what is around you, the way you take things, the way you work. And basically what we need to do is understand that it is happening. It's a reality. Do not give up to fake news, to the news that are so worrisome. Stay busy and work on your health, physically and mentally.
Mauricio, you've been in the sport from the day you were born, obviously. Has there ever been a scenario through your career where boxing has been paused for a period of time? And we don't even know now how long we will be paused for. Yeah, this could be September, October, November. We just don't know yet.
Never. I don't think anyone living today can remember something like this. The world is shut down completely for sports and entertainment, and many industries and activities are close to being non-active. When 9/11 happened in New York, the first event was Trinidad against Hopkins within a month of that horrible happening. When the influenza hit Mexico in a month, Canelo was fighting in Cancun to show the world that Mexico was okay. But something like this, it's a global shutdown. It's never been even dreamed for, not in a movie. So let's stay calm, let's stay positive, and don't overthink, because if you do that, then your mind just simply shuts down.
Mauricio, from a fighter perspective, you're WBC champions across the weight categories. Is this something you're going to help them with financially, or is there a program in place? Because we're obviously noticing fighters don't get paid if they don't fight. Is this some sort of setup? I know the British board haven't got anything here, but do you have anything in mind if this prolongs for a period of time?
You know, the world champions is not the problem. The problem is the 4-rounders, the 6-rounders, the upcoming fighters who have not made any money. The WBC has the Jose Sulaiman Fund, which helps fighters in trouble. And of course, that is working. And we are working on several initiatives. You know, boxers are heroes. Boxers have a huge heart because they have empathy. They all come from trouble background. They all come from suffering, from sacrifice, from the streets where you are suffering so much, and that gives them a special strength. And when they see something happening, they are the first ones to react. For example, Eric Morales is going tomorrow to drive and deliver thousands of food boxes to underprivileged families. And it's a movement that the WBC is doing with several fighters, and Eric Morales is just a pride. He immediately took on it and will be doing it. And fighters are participating in many different manners to try to help their community. So it's a great honor to see our industry be always there to help the other. And I'm just hoping that this boxing resumes soon. I'm sure it's going to be done by several regions, different regions. But life will go on, and challenges will be overcome. And this is testing the strength of everybody. And we'll work together to facilitate, to do our best to come out together of this matter.
Mauricio, obviously there's a few mandatories coming up and purse bids as well. Is that now going to be pushed over towards the latter part of the year, or is it just unknown at the moment?
Well, we're going to play it by specific cases. We're going to analyze each individual case. For example, Devin Haney, who was champion in recess, has submitted a request to be placed back as a champion because he's going to be ready to fight, and he's healed. So we're waiting for the medical certificate. Then we will address that division specifically. Victor Postol was going to fight Ramirez twice, and that has been also postponed. So we're going to look at every single division, every champion, every challenger. We're going to, of course, address the mandatory dates on each case, and we will be addressing every single situation.
I think what the UK fans want to know as well, obviously, Dillian Whyte, we all know he's been waiting to become the WBC heavyweight mandatory. Was for Deontay Wilder, but now it's Tyson Fury at this stage. Yeah, I believe it was set for February 2021. Does that still stay the same?
Yes, at this moment, February 2021 is the day for the mandatory defense on the heavyweight division. There's no change at this moment. We will see how that division activity unfolds and how the participants on the countries where the fighters belong unfold.
Mauricio, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. Let's say, obviously in the rematch, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, when that takes place, I believe they're trying to eye that up for October. If, let's say, Deontay Wilder was to win, and all of a sudden it's now 1-1 between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and they wanted to go into that final fight to see who becomes victorious in their fourth fight, would you permit it, or would you say no, the winner first has to fight Dillian Whyte?
You know, I don't like to anticipate and speculate. It's like dreaming. So the rules and regulations are clear. The mandatory is February 21st. Dillian Whyte is the interim champion and mandatory. And there are so many other things that have to happen before getting to that, which is first, obviously, COVID-19. So I will concentrate on that, on what is available for review and action. And that's how we stand right now.
Mauricio, obviously, a lot of fans always complain about the volume of belts in the sport of boxing. We have the WBA has many different versions of its titles. I know you've spoken openly recently about bringing fans together, bringing the governing bodies together and creating more undisputed fights. But I just want to touch firstly on your franchise champion. Could you just elaborate on the definition of what is a franchise champion and how you become a franchise champion?
This is a new concept. It is something that the WBC has incorporated with a very specific goal and with specific reasons. As you know, the WBC has always been innovative, and we have changed the rules and we have changed the protocols constantly to make boxing safer and make boxing better. The franchise designation is designed only for very few fighters who have the specific characteristics. Fighters that are of elite, that are world recognized as the best of the best, fighters who fight in different weight categories, and fighters who run the industry of boxing. So Canelo is unquestionably one of the driving, if not the most important driving forces of the sport. And he has a contract in which he has to fight consistently, constantly against the best possible opponents. That is why the WBC took a step and recognized this supreme elite champion and give him certain abilities to fulfill what the fans want. So he came up to super middleweight and won the title, went up and fought in light heavyweight and won a title. So the WBC tagged him as franchise, where he represents the WBC in every single fight, but he's not limited on staying in the middleweight division to fight there. He can move up, move down, and make the best fights possible. And this is just an experiment which I feel very comfortable. Lomachenko is another example. It is a very limited designation to few fighters of a specific characteristics. I understand fans and media have concerns and are confused. Some and many promoters and members of the boxing industry love the idea because this gives the possibility and puts no luck on fighters' development of the career and the industry development. So I just hope that the fans give it a chance, give an opportunity to see what happens. I feel very proud, and I stay with the millions of fans that will be enjoying from great fights against the few tens or maybe 100 who are concerned and confused and are critical about it. I take the high road. I take the activity in the ring with great fights for the enjoyment of the whole world.
You mentioned Lomachenko becoming the franchise champion. And so the question is, if Lomachenko wanted to have a undisputed clash, now obviously Devin Haney, right now the WBC belt is in the air in the lightweight division. So if Devin Haney was upgraded to the WBC full champion and not champion in recess, if Lomachenko fights Lopez, can that be regarded as undisputed?
Absolutely, yes. Because Lomachenko represents the WBC as a WBC world champion. I understand your question. I've been asked hundreds of times. I understand and appreciate there could be some confusion. But again, I take the high road. I rather see Lomachenko fight Teofimo Lopez. And then eventually, when Haney is ready to be in those type of fights, a great match with Haney or with Fortuna and Campbell, this opens the door for great fights. There have been a very limited number of undisputed champions, to say it like that. But there's so many different variables, so many different things to analyze if it's undisputed or not. And undisputed is just a designation. It is not a title. It is nothing. It is a concept. It is a designation that we give for one fighter to hold the belts, all the belts in a division. Well, the concept of franchise applies, and it's a designation, just like undisputed. It's a name, it's a concept. So the fight, what happens in the ring is what is most important, and not a designation, because record books and statistics are all full of asterisks, what ifs, different things that happen. So as I confirm, I rather see the activity in the ring with the best possible, and do not really take great concern about a designation of undisputed.
Mauricio, Floyd Mayweather was in the UK last month. I covered a couple of the events here, and he spoke openly about boxing and the problems in boxing. One was belts, which we've just spoken about, and the other one was fighters are becoming champions via email. Over the last couple of weeks, I've spoken to quite a few coaches and managers, and they've all raised this and said, you know, as a fighter, there's nothing better, there's no better feeling than at the end of the fight, Michael Buffer or Jimmy Lennon Jr. raising your hand and saying, and the new. You know, what can this not be? So can this not be more rationalized, where rather than promote somebody to become a champion, can't you just say number one will fight number two for that vacant title? Why do we have to write an email and make them champions via email?
Well, it is not accurate. It is the rules. And it is, if you're talking about Haney, for example, or I don't know which example, the WBC has had very, very few situations that merit this explanation. When Lennox Lewis defeated Razor Ruddock to be the one in line to fight against the winner of Bowe and Holyfield, okay? Lennox knocked them out in 2 rounds, and Bowe defeated Holyfield. And instead of facing Lennox Lewis, he opted to throw the belt in a trash can and go his own way. Well, the WBC had Lennox Lewis come to the WBC convention and recognizing him as champion from that defeat against Ruddock, with an immediate mandatory, which was Tony Tucker. Devon Haney, he won an interim title. You have to remember that in that division, Mikey Garcia was a champion, and he moved up, asked a permission, and he never came back to fight in lightweight. So the WBC ordered a series of fights between 4 fighters to fill that vacant title. Some of those fell apart, and eventually we ordered a fight, and Lomachenko petitioned to fight for the WBC vacant title, which he did against Campbell. That was another unprecedented. But we took the high road, and we saw a great fight of Lomachenko with Campbell. So we have to do what is best for the sport. Haney fought for the interim title because he had already been ordered. So we could not go against Haney. When he wins, and when Lomachenko is tagged as franchise, Haney simply was moved as champion of the world. He was already interim champion. And then he defended it 2 weeks later and ratified his championship. So it is not that a fighter is appointed as champion by an email or a letter. That is presumptuous and misleading to the fans.
Mauricio, you announced earlier this month about, or was it end of last month, about postponing your drug testing program. There's a lot of people that came out and said we could understand the postponement in terms of having the manpower behind pushing this, but what was the need of announcing it and potentially encouraging some fighters to go and use anabolic steroids?
No, that's simply a stupid way of analyzing things. Why lie? If you cannot even go out to the street, how can you expect the WBC to encourage and continue a program where you are asking a collector of samples to go out and risk his life, and to ask our fighters to accept a stranger to come into your house and take blood or urine when he can be bringing the virus and infecting your family. I'm sorry. Whoever takes that road of saying we are encouraging cheaters to dope, he's got the cabin fever. He's so anxious and just ready to blast and be negative about things. The WBC safety is first, and we will not entertain getting into activity that goes against the safety of collectors and fighters. And we're not gonna lie about it. The program is suspended because we cannot go out from our houses. We lead by example, and we ask everyone to stay home. So we're not gonna be lying. We're not gonna be and pretend something is happening when it is not. Laboratories are closed, and we are working very hard in the clean boxing program, updating administrative work and getting the awareness programs out. But we will be eventually opening the testing in the regions where it's available. But I'm not gonna lie. If people cheat, they're gonna be caught. And I believe in the transparency of the fighters, the willing to be clean and to protect the sport. If someone cheats, someone dopes, he's gonna be caught and he's gonna be punished. But I'm not gonna entertain that we are encouraging anyone to dope, because it's an illegal activity. It's a crime to do doping. So if someone takes that, we cannot prevent it. With or without this announcement, people would be doing it.
But was it imperative to announce it, Mauricio?
Why not? I was asked by ESPN, and I said the truth. So why hide something? Why pretend that something is happening when it is not? When there's so many more different and important things to deal with in your life, or rather than thinking about the clean boxing program guy knocking on your door. I'm sorry. I understand whoever thinks just keep quiet and don't say anything, but that's not the WBC. We are proactive. We're not lying. And this program, its foundation and its greatness is a transparency.
Mauricio, on drugs and those that do get caught, there's so much discrepancy out there because there's different organizations, there's different states, there's different boxing committees in different cities. Now, how can everyone combine? Because if a fighter gets banned from one governing body, he can go and fight with another governing body. Or if he's banned from New York, he can go and fight in Nevada. How can we all combine? Because I think boxing is the only sport that has something like this that's very different and difficult to work with.
Yeah, unfortunately, the jurisdictions are the ones who control their state, their country. If you have a jurisdiction, for example, the British Boxing Board of Control is a unique body who can control everything that happens in the sport. In the United States, you have 52 different commissions, and it's a different rules and different agreements and procedures. The WBC is the only one that does as sanctioning organization of belts, for example. Like the BBUC, they do tests, but the WBC is the only world organization doing random testing. We created the clean boxing program. We have spent a large amount of money and effort in doing so. We have lost several fights with great interest, heavyweight fights, but there's no stopping. We're gonna move stronger and harder and try to get as more tests as possible. If the other organizations do it, that would be great. If boxing commissions would test, that would be great. The more tests out there, the safer and cleaner the sport becomes. And I believe that we're working towards accepting worldwide that if a fighter is suspended by Box Rec, then that fighter is suspended worldwide. At the end, if a jurisdiction wants to accept a fighter who's suspended, they will do it. This is a matter that has to do with the jurisdictions where the fight takes place. If the other organizations do not respect a WBC clean boxing program suspension, you have to go ask the others. Not we do lead this matter, and we just invite everyone to accept and do it.
Mauricio, just finally, just coming back to life and communities and countries, what's your advice to everyone in the sport of boxing, outside the sport of boxing, with everything that we're going through at the moment? People have lost loved ones and family members through this coronavirus.
Yes, this is a challenge at the worst level to every individual. What I am doing is I am keeping my mental health. I am working very hard for that, because you control your brain, you control your mind, and you can eliminate all those things that create anxiety. If you watch news, or if you watch WhatsApp, or you get messages from your friends, or you talk to certain people that creates anxiety, stop doing it. I am very active. I wake up, I do my exercise, I shower, I have breakfast. I have a complete list and schedule for every single day of what I want to accomplish, what I must accomplish, what I must do. And we all always complain that we don't have time to do things. Now we have all the time. Read books, study, work, spend time with your family, watch movies, watch fights, write a book, clean up your closet, your office, your memory boxes, anything. I really feel sorry for those who live alone, for those who are in a difficult situation, for those who have lost someone, or those who are in fear of losing someone, those who are in a difficult position. And my recommendation is work very hard on your mental health. Don't allow this to get to you, and you can do it. Tomorrow, Monday, we're going to start a series of mental exercises that we're going to start to broadcast. But you don't need a coach. You need to understand it. Stay busy, stay alert, and keep everything that creates anxiety and worriness away. And you can do it. I don't talk to one of my brothers because I know he's going to start saying all this and this and this. But I talk to my other brother, who is very calm, and he talks about art, and we talk and we enjoy and we have fun. So it's something that we can do, and everything is much better if you have mental health that is helping you getting through this.
Mauricio, great words, and I can only echo them. Let's hope that this virus can disappear forever, very, very, very soon, so everyone can go back to normality, and we can carry on with the sport of boxing, because without doubt we're all missing the sport of boxing. Mauricio, I appreciate you giving me your time this evening. Very, very grateful, and we definitely will have to catch up very soon.
Thank you so very much. I'm looking forward to seeing you, my friend, and thank you for this opportunity.
Mauricio Sulaiman for IFL TV, thank you very much.